Okay, so we're going to take the exact same process that we did in Excel, and we're going to do it now over in R. So I've already written the code for you, and you can also download it from the GitHub site. But I'm going to start with kind of showing you exactly how to do it, and you can just copy and paste right now, and then we can learn more later. So what this is a script file in RStudio. And you can create a script file by just clicking on the little plus down arrow there and clicking on R script. R script is just a simple little program code. Now what you see up here is just me doing documentation. If a line starts with a, a pound sign, then what follows it is not actually read by the computer when it's trying to process the code. So all of this information up at the top is just information that backs up where all of this came from. And I modified some code found here to kind of illustrate this capability. So the first thing we're going to need to do in R is make sure that the library or package that's necessary to scrape a website is installed in R. And you're going to find this a lot. You'll see a line of code that says like library, and then this code rvest is an actual package. There's two ways that you could install the package rvest. One is in RStudio. You can go up here to Tools, Install Package, and then type in RVEST, and you can see it right there. It's actually coded right. And by the way, the RStudio R is very sensitive to capitalization, so make sure it's exactly the way that it reads in the code, and then click Install. If you do that, then it's going to run, and you'll see this installation information down here in the console. And then at the end, you'll get this. Hopefully, you won't see any errors, and you'll get this. Another way you could do it is you could type in the phrase install packages and then type in R, put it inside quotation marks, vest, like that, and it'll do the exact same thing. You can see it running again down here. Now, you don't have to have install rvest in your code. I'm just showing you there's two different ways that you could do it. Once you've installed rvest once, you won't have to do it again. Sometimes you'll get an error code that says, hey, this library doesn't work or package doesn't work with the version of R you're using, and most of the time you go up there and you just check for package updates and it will allow you to do it again, or you can go through that install process again and it will update the package to the latest library. So then once you've done that, this part that's right here is your program. And so the first thing you're going to do in your program is load the library, which does the web scraping. And to execute a line of code in RStudio, you just go up here and hit run, and it will load that package. And you can see down here that it successfully loaded the package. It also loaded another required package. That's just something that may have been included with the package that you downloaded that's required to actually make it work. Then the second thing you're going to do is do the web page, which this web page is the exact same web page that we use from the website. So if you remember, I'm going to pull it over here and show you. This was the CIA website, and you can see up here the page that had all that information in it. If you remember, the original web page had the like UK installed in it. You don't need that. So this is all the information you need. So I just copied from this bar and then pasted inside here. I hit Control V and I've got the web page in there. And then so you do that step next, run. And now you've created, when you ran that, what this does is this creates the object web page, which comes over here and it says this is a web page object, and it tells what's in that web page, and it basically tells the computer where to go, and this is actually a browser that's used to extract data. So we don't need that anymore, but I wanted to show you how it works. Next, you're going to create another object called TBLS, which basically uses that web page object you just used and looks for the word table inside that web page. If you were to go to that source code for this, which you can do by right clicking and going inspect our page source right here, you can see all kinds of source code in there. And if you control F, you can find the word table, and you can see the the code that actually produces that view that you have here is right here. And you can see the table, and it says the table's name is rank order. Um, and essentially what you're doing is you're reading in that information into a new object called tables. So basically it's telling it to look at the code that you just downloaded from the web page, look for the quoted word table. Then this next one, head, it kind of shows you a preview of what's in there. And that's the same page that we just looked at a second ago on the same data that we just looked at a second ago right here. You can see this table ID rank order. It's right here. So what it did was it looked for that on the web page. And then next, you're going to use this table ls, and it's going to look to extract or strip the table information and put it into this object table ls. And when you see this, it's going to run all the way down to here when I start it right there and say run. And then table ls is this new object, and it's got inside that object, it's got a data frame. A data frame is like a spreadsheet. And you can see there are 238 rows. That's the number of countries, and it's 4 columns. So this is great. You now have the entire data frame inside there. The problem is this table ls is an object and not the actual data frame. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a table called population, and we're going to tell it that that's a data frame object, which is like a spreadsheet. And we're going to say look inside this table ls for that data frame. And when we click it, we'll get this population one, and you can see up here these other ones were list, but this is a data frame. It's got 234 observations of 4 variables. If we click on it, wow, there you are. It looks just exactly like the spreadsheet, and it's got all the same information in it. And if I wanted to, I could actually output that. We're going to learn about that later when we do load. But it's got the names of each of the column headings. It tells you what rank they are in terms of how many people. And you can see this is really interesting that USA is number 3 on the list. Very interesting. Well, that concludes our example of pulling data, extracting data from the web. The last thing you want to do is you want to go over here to your code you just wrote, and you want to file, save as, and you want to give this a code name. I'm going to call this file the extract example and hit save. And since I already saved it once, it's asking me that, but if you haven't, it'll ask you again. So now there you go. You have it. You have the data frame right there. If you wanted to, you could actually export that. So anyway, I think we've illustrated the same capability you did in Excel here in R. And look forward to talking to you again about the next step after extract, which is transform.